Here we go. So many people have been telling me, yo, react to Elrond, his history, and all about his character. I'm so excited for this one. Let's get into this. But before we get into this, pause the video and go and like and subscribe. At 250 subscribers, I will watch The Hobbit for the first time, and I will post it on YouTube. Somehow, someway, it'll probably be edited and clipped and stuff like that, but we'll get it up. For sure, you have my word. You do your part, and I'll do mine. Let's get into this. Lord Elrond, half-elven. Epic character history. I hope we find out, is that his nickname or something? I already just shows you. All I know from Elrond is from the movies, and I probably missed a ton in that as well. Let's get into this. I'm excited.
Such is oft the course of deeds that move the wheels of the world. Small hands do them because they must, while the eyes of the great are elsewhere.
One sec, let me. Such is oft the course of deeds that move the wheels of the world. Okay, so people are trying to, be tricky in the world. I guess small hands do them because they must, while the eyes of the great are elsewhere. Okay. People are doing things behind the backs of the great, whilst the great have other things in mind. Maybe money, maybe power. Okay. Let me know. Let me know. This quote is cool, man. Let me know. Let me know what the meaning behind it. Such is off the course of these. Okay, let's get into this. Sorry, I'm already pausing. But hey, that's just the way I am. Let's do this.
Hands do them because they must, while the eyes of the great are elsewhere. Megovanen, my friends, I hope you all are having a grand day wherever you are in Middle-earth. Yoiston here, bringing you an epic character history that I've wanted to make for quite some time now. Today we will discuss the great half-elven loremaster named Elrond. Let's begin. Elrond, meaning Stardome, was the name of one of the sons of Arendil and Elwing. Elrond.
So I didn't know he was Erendil's son. I didn't. I recently reacted to the poems of Erendil. Part 3 is going to be up soon. Someone in the comments, God bless him, let me know. I had no idea.
Along with his twin brother Elros, was born in the refuge of the havens of Sirion in Beleriand, in the last century of the First Age. Shortly after their births, the havens were attacked by Maethros and Maglor, two of the sons of Feanor, as Elwing possessed one of the Silmarils that Feanor's line was bound.
Let me know who this ginger guy is. He just said his name, but I want to watch some videos on this guy because he always pops up regarding the lore of Lord of the Rings. First age, second age, he's popped up a lot, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Need to watch some videos on him. Is this the guy that got hung up by one hand? Is this him? Also, damn, that red hair. I mean, I thought I had long hair, but anyway.
To. After the sons of Feanor attacked the havens and captured Elrond and Elros, they came for Elwing, who jumped into the sea to be saved by Olmo, the Vala of the Seas. Later, Elwing would take the shape of a white bird, and she would bring the Silmaril to Arendil. The mother and father of Elrond and Elros would go on to take the Silmaril to Valinor to plead with some of its inhabitants for aid. In the meantime, however, Maethros and Maglor were unsure of what to do with the two young half-elves that they had captured. Out of pity and eventually out of love, Maglor raised Elrond and Elros as if they were his own sons, and both sons of Feanor befriended the two twins. It is possible that years later, Elrond and Elros would go on to fight in the War of Wrath against Morgoth's forces, but there doesn't seem to be any specific writings to prove this. Anyway, eventually Maglor and Maethros, who were the last surviving sons of Feanor, would meet their fates after they stole the two Silmarils from Eonwe after the War of Wrath. Maethros met his end in a fiery chasm, and Maglor cast his Silmaril into the sea, and still supposedly wanders the shores, singing laments of his regrets and despair.
Damn.
By this time, however, Elrond and Elros had departed from the Sons of Feanor, as they were no longer children. At the end of the First Age, the two half-elves were given a choice by the Valar to embody either the race of men or the Eldar, but not both. They, and all other half-elves to come, were given this choice. As
Why?
both Elrond and Elros were the descendants of Tuor and Idril on their father's side of the family, and Beren and Luthien on their mother's side. Elros chose to be among the
Wow,
kindred of
that
men,
art.
and he set sail from the western lands of Middle-earth, where Beleriand used to be before the War of Wrath. He followed the star of his father Elendil to the newly erected island of Númenor, where he would be known as Elros Tar Minútur, the first king of Númenor. Elrond, on the other hand, chose to be an elf, and he remained in Lindon with Gil-galad, the new High King of the Noldor.
So when Elros chose man. Now I don't know if half elves have obviously the power of elves, but like, does he lose his like immortality aspect and stuff like that, or is it just like, you know, he's figuratively with the men, or is he like literally he becomes a man? Does he lose his elven half? If that makes sense. And does Elrond gain full elf powers? I don't know how to word this. Let me know.
During the early years of the Second Age, Elrond became a great healer, lore master, and the herald of Gil-galad. Lindon remained peaceful until the coming of Annatar, the Lord of Gifts.
Ugh.
Annatar posed as an emissary of the Valar, and he came seeking entrance to Lindon. But Gil-galad and Elrond sensed that he was not as fair as he seemed, and they denied him entry. The same being
Get
would
wrecked.
then go to Eregion and teach Celebrimbor the art of ringcraft. One of the elven rings, Vilya, would go to Gil-galad. Eventually, the War of the Elves and Sauron began after Annatar revealed himself to be the new Dark Lord. By the command of Gil-galad in 1695 of the Second Age, Elrond led the elves of Lindon to defend Eregion, but the elves were unable to save Celebrimbor, and they were forced to flee northeast. They eventually came to a hidden valley, and Elrond established Imladris, or Rivendell as it would be known in the common speech, in 1697 of the Second Age. Even as it was besieged and grew in refugees, Imladris remained as one of the only strongholds left against Sauron, and it would continue to endure even to the end of the Third Age. Eventually, the combined forces of Númenor and Lindon freed Rivendell and defeated Sauron in 1701 of the Second Age. After the Dark Lord's first defeat, Elrond held the First White Council in Imladris. Likely, Elrond, Galadriel, Gil-galad, and Círdan were some of the Eldar in attendance, though the members are not explicitly stated. The council decided that the three elven rings should remain hidden, and Imladris would take Eregion's place as the elven stronghold of Eriador, except for Lindon, of course. It is possible that Gil-galad would give Elrond the ring Vilya at this time or sometime later, before his demise at the end of the age. Elrond would bear Vilya, even after sailing into the west at the end of the Third Age. It was during this time that Elrond met Celebrian, the daughter of Galadriel and Celeborn, who he would one day wed. Years later, in 3429 of the Second Age, Sauron once again revealed himself to the Free Peoples, and 2 years later...
I didn't know he was married to Galadriel's daughter. Soon we're going to be reacting to all of Galadriel's history, because there's so much I need to know even about her. I'm liking this, but I feel like the guy's rushing it a little bit. Or is it just me? Maybe it's just me. I'm just being honest. I feel like he's just jumping extremely... Anyway, let's just get into it. I just need him to slow down just a dot.
Later, the War of the Last Alliance would begin. Elendil and Gil-galad's forces would march to Imladris to join with Elrond and his elves. The forces consolidated their military strength for 3 years in Imladris, before setting out over the Misty Mountains to join with the elves of Lothlorien, Mirkwood, and the dwarves of Khazad-dûm. The War of the Last Alliance took place, and it eventually ended when Isildur cut the One Ring from Sauron's hand after years
now we
of
know
siege
what this
and
is.
battle. During the war, Elrond served as Gil-galad's herald, and he witnessed his High King's death and the fall of Elendil by the hands of Sauron. After the ring was taken by Isildur, Elrond and Círdan urged Isildur to destroy it. As we know, Isildur did not do this. As Elrond was now one of the last lords among the elves, he returned to Imladris to continue leading his people, and thus the Third Age began. As there are many years in the Third Age, most of the events concerning Elrond are scattered about, so I will have to jump from year to year. In 109 of the Third Age, Elrond wedded Celebrian. In 130, the twins Elladan and Elrohir were born, and Arwen Undumil came 111 years later. For over
Damn.
1,000 years, Rivendell remained peaceful. I imagine that Elrond met both the wizards sometime after their arrival in Middle-earth, in 1000 of the Third Age, and Glorfindel, who arrived around the same time. Peace in Imladris remained until Angmar attacked during 1409 of the Third Age, in the time of Angmar's war with Arnor. With the help of the Galadhriam from Lothlorien, Elrond's forces defended Rivendell, and they would rebuke the Witch King's forces.
Bro, Rivendell, it just... Nah, man. You just can't. Don't try to... Second age to the third age, is that correct? It wasn't around in the first age, right? Or it may have been something else in the first age. What a fortress!
In 1975 of the Third Age, when Glorfindel would lead a host of elves to defend Fornost against Angmar with Elrond as his herald. After the kingdom of Arnor, and specifically Arthedain, fell, and presumably after this battle, Elrond took the Ring of Barahir and the Scepter of Annúminas for safekeeping in Rivendell, until a descendant of his brother Elros might restore Arnor. He would also serve to protect and house the heirs of Isildur from time to time, as he cared greatly for the lineage. In 2463 of the Third Age, after Gandalf infiltrated Dol Guldur for the first time and unknowingly ousted Sauron, Elrond, along with the rest of the Wise, such as Gandalf, Galadriel, Círdan, and some other lords of the Eldar, formed the White Council with Saruman as the head. They would serve to keep watch for the darkness during the time of the watchful peace. A little less than 50 years later, Elrond's sorrows were added to as his wife Celebrian was captured by orcs of the Misty Mountains. Eventually, Elrohir and Elladan rescued her, but Elrond was unable to heal her, so she left for the Undying Lands in 2510. After Gandalf invaded Dol Guldur,
I still am not sure what the Undying Lands are, by the way. That's going to have to be something I look into. Because that's where they all headed at the end of the movies, right? That's where all the elves were going, and Arwen didn't want to. She wanted to stay with Aragorn. Okay.
Again many years later, he discovered that the necromancer was indeed Sauron, but Saruman dissuaded the council from acting in 2851, as the wizard had already begun to shift his loyalty, and he wanted to find the One Ring himself. In 2933, Elrond adopted Aragorn as his foster son in Rivendell, after his father Arathorn had been slain by orcs, foreseeing the danger that would come with Aragorn's identity. Elrond named Aragorn Estel, meaning hope in Sindarin, and he hid his true lineage until Aragorn came of age. Elrond also sent Arwen to live in Lothlorien with her grandmother for some years at that time. During the events of The Hobbit in 2941, Elrond would be crucial in aiding Thorin's company, as he identified Gandalf and Thorin's weapons and read the moon letters from Thror's map. His advice was
250 subscribers. I react to The Hobbit. Like I said, all I've done is watched like half of the first one. Can't remember any of it. Compared it too much to Lord of the Rings. Need to watch it for its own movie. And yeah, I'll expect that to be on the channel soon.
Would allow for Thorin, his kin, and Bilbo to find the hidden door on the face of one of Erebor's walls, and this was necessary for the dwarves to enter the mountain. Later that same year, the White Council would assail Dol Guldur to rid it of the necromancer. These events were discussed by Bilbo, Gandalf, and Elrond in Rivendell during the Hobbit's return journey home from Erebor. In 2953, the White Council met for one last time, as Gandalf thought that Bilbo's ring could be Sauron's One Ring. Saruman dismissed this, claiming that the ring had been swept off into the sea by the Anduin River. Some years later, Aragorn and Arwen met and fell in love, and Elrond said that they could only marry if Aragorn reunited the kingdoms of Gondor and Arnor as the High King. Now we arrive to the events of the Lord of the Rings, which I shall quickly summarize, as Elrond's actions in this time are fairly well known. As Bilbo and Elrond were good friends, Bilbo retired to Rivendell in 3001 of the Third Age, leaving the One Ring to Frodo. 17 years later, Frodo set off on his quest, heading towards Rivendell to seek Elrond's advice about the ring, as Gandalf also suggests
Look at that art,
in
man.
a letter that the wizard left at Bree. Eventually, Frodo was injured on Weathertop, and one of Elrond's scouts, who happened to be Glorfindel and was looking for the Hobbit, found him, and hastened him to Imladris. After Frodo crossed the ford of Brunine outside of Rivendell, Elrond and Gandalf used their combined strength to send
So
large
good.
horse-like waves down the river that washed the knowledge.
I'm not gonna lie, in the movie, I thought Arwen done that. I always thought Arwen done that. I thought that was her magic.
School away. Afterwards, Elrond
You gotta admit, that's what the movie makes it look like, right? Because she's on. It's her who saves Frodo, right? When she's on the horse. Pretty sure.
was able to mostly heal Frodo's Morgul wound, and they held a feast for the Hobbit before the Council of Elrond commenced. Elrond narrated the history of what he knew about the One Ring and Isildur's lineage, and he confirmed Aragorn as the heir of Isildur to the rest of the Council. We know too that Aragorn is the heir of his brother Elros. Elrond affirmed Frodo's decision to carry the ring, and the half-elf also chose some of his companions, accepting Merry and Pippin only reluctantly. Sometime later, after the Fellowship of the Ring set off, Elrond sent his sons Elladan and Elrohir with the Dunedain Rangers to aid Aragorn, and to remind him to take the paths of the dead. Elrohir advised Aragorn to do this, and he also presented Elrond's wisdom during the last debate, affirming Aragorn's decision to divert Sauron's attention so that Frodo could destroy the One Ring. Even though Elrond did not directly involve himself in these events, and stayed in Rivendell during the War of the Ring, the quest was won with the help of his advice,
100%.
and Aragorn became the High King of the reunited kingdom of Gondor and Arnor. And so Elrond stayed true to his word, and he escorted Arwen from Rivendell so that she could wed King Elisar. He parted from her in great sorrow, and with the company of Gandalf, Frodo, and many others, Elrond went back to Rivendell, and he stayed there for a few more years. Finally, in 3021 of the Third Age, Elrond and some of the other ring-bearers rode to the Grey Havens, and from there, Elrond returned to the home that he never knew. With his friends of many years, Elrond took the White Ship into the west, leaving his daughter and sons behind in Middle-earth. And in this way, he finally reunited with his wife.
Oh.
His journey was complete. Elrond is one of the only characters mentioned in all three of Tolkien's most famous stories of the Silmarillion, The Hobbit, and The Lord of the Rings.
So Elrond is first age to third age? Damn. Just in the first age, right? Just, if I recall? No, not just. He said he may have even been in the battle with Morgoth. Damn.
From Elrond, we may learn that sometimes the more thoughtful and methodical actions are wisest,
Yeah.
and we should never turn aside those who are in need. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you guys liked it.
That was great. That was good. At the beginning, it was a bit rushed, so I may have missed a couple of things. That was really good, man. That was really good. I really enjoyed that. Now I know a lot more about Elrond, man. He's honestly one of my favorite characters. Seeing your breakdown of his story was a really nice end to my day. I just wanted to amend a mistake. I should clarify that Gandalf never mentioned Bilbo's ring, but his suspicions about the Hobbit's ring at the time were quieted by Saruman's belief. Oh. That the One Ring was lost to sea, although Saruman just wanted to search the Vales of Anduin without the interference of Sauron or suspicious of the Council. Suspicions of the Council. Okay. Another of Elrond's strength is that he can acknowledge his own limits and is willing to yield to the counsel of others. He recognizes that Frodo, unlikely as it seems, is the best choice as ring-bearer, and the hobbits in general have strength of both endurance and character to make them a people of worth. He never condescends to them, not even Sam. He also follows Gandalf's advice and allows Merry and Pippin to join the Fellowship, despite his misgivings. And in the end, he acknowledges Aragorn's accomplishments and consents to him marrying Arwen, despite the personal cost. Grew up without both his parents, adopted by two brothers that killed his people. Damn. Okay, so those two brothers, let me know. Now, just FYI, when you guys message me and there are links in the message, sometimes it may say that you guys messaged, but when I click on the notification, there's nothing there. So if you want to suggest a video, the best thing to do is just be like Elrond's greatest history, Nerd of the Rings or something like that. Instead of just posting the link, and hopefully I'll find it. That will probably be the best way. I've also got a Twitter or a Twitch that you guys could let me know on. So yeah. But yeah, those two brothers, the red-headed one and the black-haired one, I need to watch a video on them. 100%. Technically, Aragorn was related to Elrond the whole time. Also, he married a very distant cousin. Neat. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you being here. On the road to 250 subscribers. So like and subscribe. Take care.